Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about don't force it or you'll make a mistake. So this is a dating advice video. I guess as well it can also be used for, trying to get your ex back and things like that, and the no contact rule. Because when you try and force things, when you're trying to make something happen with someone who was once romantically interested in you, or someone that you're trying to get romantically interested in you, the more you force it, the more you look needy, the more you look like you're attention seeking, the more you look insecure, right? Because that's what it is. If you're trying to force something with someone, if you're trying to force a connection, if you're trying to force them to get back together with you, whatever that may be, in however form that is manifesting for you, then unfortunately it's going to make you look less attractive. It's actually going to do the opposite of what you want it to do, right? The best thing to do when you are dating, or when you're trying to give someone space to maybe, come back into your life, like going into no contact, the best thing that you need to do is you need to back off, right? And let them come to you at their own pace. Because the more you try and force things, the less likely it's actually going to happen, because the less attractive you are going to look in their eyes. So when you are dating someone, it's good to give them some time. Like, don't always be in their DMs every day, right? Make sure that they're putting in the effort too, and they're messaging you. Don't be, if you're the one that's always initiating the conversations, if you're the one that's sending the longer messages, if you're the one that's sending the more frequent messages, right? If that's you, and this person is not doing exactly the same thing, then you need to back off and let them do some of the chasing, let them do some of the pursuing too. Okay? Now, there's some people may hear that from me and think, oh, but that's playing games, right? They've got to know how I feel about them. I don't want to play games with them. I want to know where I stand. But the thing is that you may be really, really in love with this person already, right? You may have a really strong connection with them, and this person in question, let's say, they have the potential to feel that way too about you, but they're not quite there yet, right? Because what you got to stand about everybody is that we all do things at different rates, right? We all blossom at different times, whatever it may be, right? If you look at people who are successful, like some people get successful when they're like well into their like 60s or 70s, where there's some people who get really successful really young. Like, we all have our time on this planet, right? Where things really happen for us and really work for us and things like that. It's like some people have kids when they're teenagers, and some people have kids like me when they're in their 30s. Yeah? And that's the same for romance too. Some people fall in love a lot faster, and some people fall in love a lot slower, right? So when you're dating someone, if you feel like you're the one that's more interested in them, that means that other person who you're dating has some catching up to do, and you need to give them that space in order to do that. You can't always be constantly bombarding them with messages, trying to figure out where you stand with them constantly because you're worried that they don't feel the same way about you. You have to give them the space, because otherwise you're just being selfish and insecure and needy. You have to give them the space. So what do I mean by space? Right, so first of all, look at the correspondence that you guys have been having with each other. Who's sending the more frequent messages? Who's sending the longer messages? Who's the one that's always initiating contact first? If it's you, then you need to back off and do way less and give them the chance to do that, right? Give them space to miss you, to think about you, because they can't think about you, they can't miss you if you're in their DMs constantly. So my rule of thumb is, when you start dating someone, right, especially this is good advice for men, like if you're interested in a woman and let's say you're dating her, for the first couple of dates, just ask her out once a week and don't contact her unless she contacts you, right? So message her saying, hey, or maybe you see her in person, but basically what you do is you set up a date with her in person or over texting, whatever. Then when that date's in place, you don't need to message, because you've already made solid plans. Like, if you've got a time and a date and a place that's already been set in stone with her, right, then you don't need to message her anymore, right? Or talk to her anymore, because you've set up a date. You can get to know each other on the date. You can, spend time with each other on the date in person. or if you're doing long distance, over that FaceTime or WhatsApp video call, whatever it may be. You don't have to be constantly in their DMs. Now, if they message you, then that's great, because that obviously shows that they're pursuing you, which is wonderful. That's what you want. So of course, then you can reply and have a little conversation, right? But try and cut it short, right? Don't have a massive conversation. Maybe have it as a 2 to 3 minute thing, or you only send about 3 or 4 messages to them, and then say that you've got to go to work, or you've got to go to school, or you've got to go and study, whatever it may be, right? Try and keep things short, and try and because basically what you want is you want to be able to have that in-person contact, right? It's way better to get to know someone in person, okay, than over texting and things like that, okay? And someone who's got their head screwed on, right, right, won't mind if you cut the conversation short, right? Because let's say you're really worried now because you're like, yeah, but this person I'm dating really loves to text. They really love messaging. They really love all that kind of stuff. They're going to get mad at me, or they're going to stop liking me if I tell them that I'm busy and I can't message them, or I can't continue to chit-chat with them. If you're dealing with someone who's going to get all butthurt and go crazy on you because you haven't messaged them, or because you're cutting the conversation a bit short, even though you've got a date planned with them and you're going to be meeting up with them soon and having, all of your attention on them soon, basically, then that's not someone you want to be with. That's a Fruit Loop, right? That's someone who's loopy in the head if they get angry at you for not messaging them constantly, right? That's someone you don't want to be with, okay? Because life is busy. You don't have time to just sit on your phone all day and chat with them. And if they get butthurt and upset about that, then good riddance. You don't want to be with that person, right? We're, human beings, we're busy. We've got things we've got to do. We've got a life that we've got friends, we've got family, we've got work, we've got school, whatever it may be. We've got study, we've got projects that we need to be working on. We've got a life, you can't just be, and also that'll make you look more attractive, right? If to the right people, because it'll look like you've got a life, you've got things going on with yourself. You don't have all day to just chit chat on your phone, right? That shows that you've got things going on and you've got, a life, right? Essentially, that isn't just your mobile phone or your smartphone, whatever. You see? So, that's going to look really attractive to the right people, but people that are crazy and spend all time on their phone, have got nothing better to do with their lives, that's going to seem really weird to them, and they're going to get really angry and upset about it, right? So you're actually, by doing this method of, reaching out to them once a week to arrange a date with them, by backing off, by not messaging that much, by cutting the conversation short, what you're doing is you're weeding out the crazy people, okay? You're weeding out those women or those guys, whatever it may be, that are always on their phone, that have nothing else to do with their lives apart from message you, right? And you don't want to be someone's life like that, because if they're getting angry because you're not messaging them 24/7, and they get angry about that, that shows that they're already so invested in you that they're getting upset about it. They can't live without you, right? And you also want to come across that way too. You don't want to come across as if you've got nothing else going on in your life, right? Which is why you cut the conversation short. It adds that level of mystery, and it gives them chance to miss you. Because if you're trying to message them all the time and you're trying to force things, what you're doing is you're just showing to that person that you've got nothing else to do, right? In fact, even though you may have only known them for a little while, you can't live without them because you're always in their DMs and you're already clung on to them like a sick puppy, right? So don't force it, because you're going to make mistakes with the right people, because the right people, the right women, when someone is forcing things, they're naturally going to back off, right? Because they don't want to be involved with someone like that, okay? And it's not playing games. It really isn't. It's actually doing a really kind thing, as you're giving that person space to figure out how they feel about you, okay? So don't force it. You don't need to force it with the right people anyway, right? That's the number one thing, right? This is what I'm going to leave you with. You don't have to force it with women and people that are really interested in you, whether that's to do with friendships or with people that you're dating. You don't have to force it with the right people. It happens naturally and things progress naturally as it should. But you still have to give even those people some space right? In order to figure out how they feel about you. Because if you fall in love really fast, okay, you've got to understand that the people that you meet, the people that you date, are probably going to fall in love a lot slower. So you need to basically rein yourself in and allow them the time to blossom and for their love for you to grow. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christinelovish.com and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.